Welcome to the A4NB4Y podcast, the Zelda-themed podcast where we go chapter by chapter through The Legend of Zelda. We are covering Tears of the Kingdom this season, and we just got done going all across Hyrule with Pen, and I mean all across Hyrule to every stable, and it was a lot. And now this episode, there's a crisis. There's a crisis at the castle. We gonna talk about it. My name is Anthony, and as always, I got my lovely co-hosts right next to me. But not really, not physically. They're just here in the void space.
My name is Ryan Fonzie, and I'm enjoying a cup of chocolate milk, and I don't care who knows.
And I'm Cameron Hagee. My cat's in heat, but I did everything to prevent you from being able to hear it. Sorry if you do.
Okay.
You can tell we're all approaching this with different life situations going on.
Very much so.
But yeah, we're going back to the main quest, guys. Now that we, finished the 4 regional phenomena, was it originally suggested to us to go back to Pura, and we ignored that demand to go do some lucky clovering. So now we can actually go back and go talk to Pura back at the Lookout Landing, the HQ, if you will, of Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, and get into this conversation that gets pretty quickly interrupted. I know that I played this a while back. At this point, I did go through some refresher videos just to make sure I knew what I was talking about, but gotta say, these conversations were not what I remembered them being. This one in particular is such a shotgun conversation. Like, Pura's like, oh, so I heard about everything you did, and she summarizes your entire adventure up to this point in like a sentence.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, she's like, you went to all 4 regions and you dealt with them in their respective ways. It has to have something to do with the upheaval, and you said that this princess lookalike is behind it all. That's crazy. Anyway, I want to talk to you about, and then she gets interrupted by a blood moon.
Yeah,
right just in there.
Right there. And then she happens to look through the telescope, and we see. What'd she also do?
I remember her saying, and I probably haven't gotten that far in the game yet. Maybe she reveals it, but she said she had something extremely important to share before she got interrupted. And I wanted to throw that out there.
But that's as far as she gets, though.
Yeah, so
like she doesn't tell you what it is yet.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I need to know.
Too bad. But yeah, we look through this telescope at Hyrule Castle, and who do we see up on the floating island other than the person we've been looking for this whole time?
Sidon.
It's Prince Sidon.
Bro, he's on his bizarre adventures.
Nah, we see the Zelda lookalike, or Zelda, depending on how much
totally
you believe
Zelda.
in lookalikes.
It's totally Zelda. Come on.
It's gotta be her, right? I mean,
it's not even like she's, up on the castle, like looking to the left or looking to the right or reading a book or looking up or looking at something. She's just looking directly through that lens on the telescope like, hey, get over here now.
Yeah, there's definitely some plot issues that I take with this that, I mean, you might be able to explain away if you go in depth, but it really seems like this person, or this, I mean, we'll get more into it as we go, but assuming that we didn't watch the memories, which I know that we already have, you might not still know what's going on here.
I actually haven't watched that memory yet.
Okay.
So I didn't actually know what was going on here.
All right. So this is being a more revealing section of the game, in a good way for you, I think. But yeah, we get the same Zelda that's been appearing before every other regional phenomena, like within like she kind of shows up inside the temples, right? Each time we've gone through them.
Like inside or going into the entrance or the boss room, or yeah.
Yeah, she's always just involved somehow. is now coaxing us to Hyrule Castle. And so, I mean, Pura is totally on board. She's like, yeah, you should definitely go check that out. So we do. We start
And
heading that way.
she does say, I'm sorry to always ask you to go into dangerous situations. Like, yeah, you always do, though, It's never like, Link, we need some potatoes for the stew tonight. It's like, Link, there's a danger, and go risk your life.
Would have been great if they threw those quests in there.
Link, we need onions.
Yeah. Our people hunger for the layers, Link.
Link, we're making apple pie tonight. We need 5 apples. Oh, well, don't you worry, because I got 249 of them in my backpack.
We're making 30 pies.
While you're getting them apples, can you go solve the Goron's rock addiction? The what now? No, it's just it's on the way to your 5 apples, Link. I mean, come on. Just got this.
Step on over there. Volcano's not even hot anymore. It's fine.
It's fine. It's not even a big deal. We only have one person who can fight anything in this place, and that's you.
Right. We are the honcho.
Pretty much. But yeah, on the way to the castle, as you approach, you do get stopped by yet another like voice of Zelda in your head situation.
Or you just teleport up to Hyrule Castle, and then as soon as you get there, you get this.
Yeah, if you have if you've been to the castle before, as we all have, and you may have either found a fast travel spot that is already there, or used a travel medallion to return at will. Either way, you can just kind of cheat your way over.
Yeah, not only did she interrupt us while we were flying over there or teleporting, but she hijacked our Puriped, like the nerve of that, and then marked a location for us to go to on the map.
That did also happen.
Yeah, I'm like, you can't just do that. How'd you do my IP?
Yeah, the first one that we're trying to reach, man, we weren't using a strong enough VPN on that, man. Just cracked the code. But yeah, the first place we go is actually kind of a callback spot. It's one of the lookout towers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the second gatehouse, I think is what it's called. So we skipped the first gatehouse. Forget about that one. That one's not important for this.
Yeah, get it out of here.
But the second gatehouse is where we get our first marker. And as you approach, you can actually see the Zelda character model in the gatehouse from a distance.
It's totally Zelda.
Yeah, completely Zelda. If you pull out your pad and try to take a picture, it even highlights it as nothing.
Really?
Because it's so Zelda. Yeah, I'm pretty sure nothing comes out. I don't even know if it gives a box around it. I think it's just like It's just like when the Yiga pretended to be Zelda for that one Lucky Clover quest. It's just a no-name. Like you can point your camera at it, but you're not going to get anything for that.
True.
But you can jump on in, or run in, depending on which level you approach from. And she just kind of teleports away, and then walks away, and then everything locks up, and you are then in a fight with a boss bokoblin and a whole troop of enemies.
Scrubs.
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if this event scales to your level or not, but at this point, we fought so many of these things. Just exploring, it's barely an inconvenience.
Pretty much. As I say, even though I haven't played the game all that much recently, I was still able to just hop right back into it, which felt good. Because I kind of had an idea that I was going into a combat heavy section thinking, I might be a little rusty on my controls, but I ended up getting by just fine.
What's great about this game is that even if you don't play it for a while, if you have a save that's going, when you come back into it, you have so many tools at your disposal. You can find something that's like riding a bike.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, whether, it's just attaching the right tool to your arrow or whatever. Like, there's just so many things that you can do. So many ways to approach a fight where combat's never been the biggest obstacle in this game.
True.
Yeah, Cameron, I'm sure those boss bokoblins were real hard with those Gliok parts that you have. You can just, use
I didn't
Gliok
use
arrows
any
and
of them.
probably one-shot them.
I mean, I have them. I even have a Gliok weapon in my inventory, but I didn't end up using any of those. I think it was a white fox horn is what I attached to my weapon to go into like a couple of these fights.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you guys like me? Take a side note here, and maybe, audience, you can chime in as well, maybe get a poll going, but do you guys cycle through your weapons from like least damage to most damage? Unless you're fighting a top tier boss, like I always cycle from least damage to most damage. So I get the least damage weapons broken first, and then I kind of go up from there.
Oh yeah, that's just resource management on my end. I mean, I definitely do that. I use the things that I'm okay with breaking the most. And usually those are the weaker weapons. Sometimes I like to keep something around for utility's sake, but even that's not really an issue most of the time.
I try to keep like at least one of a couple different types of elemental weapons just chilling in case I need them. So like a fire weapon, an ice weapon, or maybe I'll have a lightning in there too. Like right now I have multiple stabs that are throwing out elements chilling.
Yeah.
But usually it just depends on how much I actually want to experience the combat. If I want to have fun in the combat, I'll go with like one of my weaker weapons. But if I kind of just want to blow them out of the water, I'll go with one of my stronger ones. I also like to save them when they're about to break, though, and go back to the Death Mountain and get the Octoroks to clean them off for me and like bring them all the way back up to usable again. I have a couple high 60, low 70 damage weapons I've been like just keeping fresh every time it's about to break.
Yeah, I do that with some of the ones that are harder to refine. Like, I mean, instead of like going and spending a bunch of pose all the time to get a new big Goron sword or a new, sword of the sages or whatever, like I'll just go and have them cleaned off by the Octoroks.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely a chore, but it works really well. So
it does, and I think it's pretty easy to find 3 or 4 of them, especially if you mark them on your map and just go revisit them each time. They're always in the same spot.
Yeah. So, getting back to what we were doing.
Finding Zelda because something's happening. She's getting torn away from us and enemies are kidnapping her at every stop. What's happening? We gotta go find her again.
She's disappearing into a strange white light whenever we get anywhere near.
Yeah, a bunch of these little like ghost wisp white lights and then they disappear. It's just,
could it be Twinrova?
That'd be sick.
Around.
That would be sick. The reveal.
Using her as bait. Yeah, no. They're in a cutscene hiding somewhere, but they're not technically in this game. Just as a by the by, that'll be fun to talk about when we actually get there. But
yeah, so we're on the first floor right now, and our next destination to find her is on basement floor 3.
And the next spot is the library, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was gonna say, luckily we already did an episode that was like a really early on adventure episode where Anthony and I talked about going into the castle and doing all the different things. So, I mean, if you remember how to navigate this place from Breath of the Wild, you'd be in good shape. Otherwise, it might be a little tricky to get to, but I wasn't planning on talking about my whole path from place to place.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, the only curve stone they really threw, if you do know the Breath of the Wild map, is some of the places are displaced because half of the castle's in the sky and half is on the ground. But other than that,
there's also a couple hallways that have been blocked off by rubble that you can't use for convenience sake.
I have never heard it called a curve stone instead of a curve ball.
Well, we're in Hyrule.
Okay.
They don't got balls.
There ain't
They
no
don't got
baseball
soccer.
in Hyrule.
Tons of stones though.
They just play soccer with stones, and get broken ankles.
And
no,
I
get
believe
it.
that this time when we fight Zelda, or this time when we get there, Zelda does her same look at you all sad and like, oh, Link, and then poof, and then all of a sudden enemies. And this time it's one of the big guys with the eyeball.
The Hinox.
Hinox, yeah.
Yeah. Hinox in the library.
And then some assorted little guys.
Yeah, it's funny how many times we have to go through this process.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I think it's 4 times overall, or maybe 5 times overall.
I think it's 5.
5. Yeah. So there's the Hinox in the library.
It's like we're playing Clue.
Yeah. Once we finish this, I mean, if you haven't explored the library already, there's the hidden rooms are still there. Go check them out.
Don't forget to put that knowledge on your shield.
Don't forget to attach a bookcase to your shield and sword.
Defend yourself with knowledge.
So everyone knows that you are an int build. And you can move on to the next section. Because the next one is actually Zelda's room, which is one of the more interesting rooms in the castle. You can kind of climb up one of the towers and get to it from there. I think the only way in is from the broken wall, right?
To her study, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, her study is out, like, across the bridge, like on a further pillar. Her room is on the inside of that, like on the closer to the main castle part of that bridge.
And this time we fight 3 flame Lizalfos.
Yeah, some fire lizards all up in Zelda's room.
Yep, 3 of them. It's pretty close quarters too, so it wasn't the simplest because I went after one and then the other one's like kind of roasting my behind.
Yeah, the fire breath is definitely a problem in a small room. Otherwise, I would say that fighting Lizalfos in a small room is kind of ideal.
True,
because they're always trying to get distance, it seems, which can be frustrating. Like maybe one of the harder things about fighting them, in my opinion. But when they're fire Lizalfos, it kind of turns that whole strat on its head because they do actually want to be close to you in that case.
Yeah, for that fire breath that lasts like 10 seconds.
I got one strategy for them.
Yeah.
Splash
Headshot?
fruit. Well, yeah, I mean, headshot's just a clear cut every time.
Nice arrow.
Splash fruit, forest dweller spear.
Oh.
For consistent bam, 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 splash damage.
Everything just wet all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw opals at them.
There you go. Yeah,
Chuck
like
some
a lot
opals.
of those probably at this point in the adventure.
Get out your opal, throw it at your feet.
You probably cleared this fight with 2 or 3 opals if you hit them right.
Whole room floods. Everyone's washed out the side of the building.
We done unleashed the opals.
That's like one of those like spoof cartoons of Tears of the Kingdom. I can see it now, just seeing a little cartoon Link and a bunch of the Zalfos all spilling out of the side of the Zelda's room.
Gotta animate it.
Too many opals. I'd love to see that one day.
The next one's like in a hallway, isn't it?
The next one is actually, I think, in the training room. It's like in the guard area, like I don't remember the guards' quarters. I forget what the official name is.
Oh yeah,
but it's like in the upper level of that. So it's not a huge arena, but you get in there and you end up fighting a bunch of moblins.
Oh yeah, 1 silver.
Yeah.
That guy took a little beating down.
I was gonna say that I think of all the fights that are in this section, that's probably the hardest one.
Yeah, because moblins don't really flinch when you hit them. They're just gonna smack you through it, and he hurts, and then a lot of health.
And a lot of times they don't hesitate either. Like they have a few moves that they wind up, but a lot of times they'll just run forward and just swing at you like it's a basic, sword slash or something, even though they're carrying a giant club.
That's why I hate anything with a spear, to be honest, because spear guys will just be looking at you like, hey, what's up? And then like 3 seconds back in time, they're already jabbing their spear at you. It's so fast. It feels like there's a welding me over here.
Yeah.
The only one that can move is Sidon.
Because he's doing a side step.
Because he's Sidon,
Sidon.
It reminds me of reminds me of that one guy in the Prince show. The name is escaping me. The Kings, Ranking of Kings. The spear guy at the beginning of the show reminds me of him because he's just so fast with a spear. Like you
So
even
hard
do
to
like a
dodge.
sidestep, and like you know how normal animations in Tears of the Kingdom, when you do the family secret technique of like slow dodging, some of the animations take a while for them to execute, but the spear always executes like instantly, even in slow animation.
I feel like the spear is
Yeah.
so fast. If you dodge late on it, it might actually like clip through your character model while you're like getting out of the way of it. It's so fast.
Yeah,
It's
probably
crazy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have one of those, thankfully. I think he has a two-handed weapon, so pretty easy to stay out of the way of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, you get a true guards test with that bit. But again, Zelda has disappeared, and after we're done fighting these moblins, we get sent to a random hallway.
Yeah.
Full of likes.
Oh, this one was annoying. They're electric likes too. I remember
They
dropping my weapon twice, my bow once.
There are electric likes. So in Breath of the Wild, there was a thunder helm that made you lightning proof.
Rejuice Thunderhelm?
Rejuice thunder helm. Yeah, you can earn it by doing Gerudo stuff. In this game, there is also a thunder helm, and we have not talked about how to get it yet. So the one thing I'm going to say about it is that it makes this hallway a big pile of nothing.
I bet.
There's no danger when the electricity doesn't do anything to you. So, yeah, if you get some of those helmets, I mean, there's one that makes you freeze proof as well, and there's, you know, fireproof armor. Like, there's ways to make the elemental likes kind of useless. And if you get the thunder helm, and we will talk about that. That's in a later episode. It makes this hallway very, very easy. That was my experience with it, to be honest. I just kind of strolled through.
It wasn't like a risk to my life, but it was annoying to drop my weapon multiple times and have to pick it up.
Yeah,
I was just wearing my level 2 barbarian armor the whole time so I can hit stuff really hard. It's my general gameplay strat in Zelda. I see something that has a health bar that I want to reduce that, and I just hit it hard.
Yeah. My strat is to score more points than the opposing team.
no matter what damage
so,
I take.
Win the victory.
Yeah, if I got to eat my whole 20-course meal in my back pocket, it's fine. I'm just going to hit it hard.
Yeah.
I got plenty of ingredients.
I follow. That's good. A lot of apples.
A lot of apples is right. Some baked, some not. It's fine. Some are in a stew. Some simmered fruit. It's great.
Yeah. And this is the final one where, you know, she moves up to the actual throne room.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Where we had our fated battle against Calamity Ganon 1 game ago.
It's true.
And so we can make our way up there. I mean, again, you can follow any path you'd like. It is the castle. We've been here before a few times. And when you get there, you get this little speech from Felda, which is not what I'm gonna call fake Zelda.
Felda.
And Felda kind of, you know, she says, "Welcome to this room. Like I want to show you something." She kind of turns the entire room back in time to when it was sparkly and new. This view of the throne room was in the trailers, and people were so confused by it, and for good reason. Like, why are we back here? It's just an illusion.
Pretty much.
She asks us if it reminds you of your time here together in, I don't know, some kind of like pull at Link's emotions, I guess is how I would say that. Like, she's just this character is now like kind of playing with Link, and then says, "Take a good look. It'll be the last thing you ever see," basically.
And that's where I'm like, Yiga? For a second, I'm like, that's as cheesy of a line as the Yiga always say.
And what I really appreciate about this part is when they started the conversation off, they actually had the cheery Zelda in the beginning. She's like, "Welcome, Link. I have something to show you." And it was like, oh, this could be Zelda because it sounds like Zelda. And then when the conversation started to get, you know, started to drag on a little bit more, and she started to take in every detail, and it's like the last thing you can see, her voice started to slowly sound more maniacal. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. And I really appreciated that because it was super nice. And then obviously when when she says, this is the last thing you'll ever see, she's like, this is the last of you, like a demon. But yeah, it was like almost like it just transcended. Her voice just kept getting deeper, and it was really cool.
Yeah, her disposition went from the, oh, Link, all the way, slowly down to the, just, she got darker and darker, and her voice just reflected it. It was pretty nicely done.
Yeah. And we get this reveal as Felda transforms into the Demon King's Phantom Saboteur, Phantom Ganon.
Before that, isn't that when Ganon appears?
Yeah, we actually see Ganon.
Yeah. Ganondorf appears like in a vision or mist kind of behind her and is like, ho, so here you are. Now, is this also when... Is it now or later that the bros?
No, the bros are later.
Bros later?
Yeah. You go through this whole fight before the bros show up.
Okay.
And we finally learn that Zelda is his puppet because he's like, did my puppet entertain you? She made it so easy to mislead you this whole time and keep you preoccupied with what I wanted you to do. And I think my favorite line about him, or what he said, is, you will not live to see another sunrise. So great.
Yeah, that's the last thing. It was kind of cool to see him refer to Zelda or Felda as his puppet, and then you kind of see like she pretends like she has puppet strings and her two arms come up with like the elbow hanging down like strings on the wrist and head kind of cocks to the side. Like she's being controlled by a marionette, and then she just kind of slowly corrupt fades away, and then Phantom Ganon.
Yes. The
this ain't
Saboteur. What's up?
This ain't Phantom Ganons that we've been fighting with the Gloom Hands. No, this ain't none of them. This is Phantom Ganon. This is the Phantom Ganon. This is Sergeant Ganon. Sergeant Phantom Ganon.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because you go all across Hyrule, you can fight like 5 at a time? Like the Gloom Hands pop up, and I think there's 5 of them. And you fight them down, and that's how you get into a Phantom Ganon fight out in the wild. In this case, you just get 5 Phantom Ganons. It's like, oh, okay. I guess that...
Yeah. This fight was a little crazy. Just going into it, I was like, I didn't expect them to throw. It was like a whole battlefield going on. You got 5 Phantom Ganons. You got me. You got all the guardians that I got with me, all the spirits, including one we haven't even talked about on the podcast yet. So this is like an actual whole battle 5v5 MOBA style League of Legends combat going on here. It's like, and then I'm just in the middle of it trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's a lot. Phase 1, all the Phantom Ganons have the same Gloom Sword, basically.
I now have 5 of.
They're attacking you head on. And it's basically like one of those fights that you get into if you were to go around with the monster control group. It's like it ends up being a big NPC battle where you're kind of just one of the players if you have all your guardians out, all your sages out, I should say. You do make a good point that you could have the 5th sage at this point, but that's, it's not as much a spoiler as it used to be, but it is still technically spoilery for the fact that we haven't talked about that section of the game either.
But by the end of this, we're going to know there's another sage.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be pretty much the end of the episode. We'll talk about that a little bit more.
I want to make one correction because it was I think the most annoying and the hardest aspect to this fight is, so they started with the Gloom Swords, but I don't know if you remember, but if like you were fighting one and then they did like a teleport, they actually would reappear with a different weapon. And I remember specifically fighting this dude like one-on-one while the other dudes were fighting the other guys, and he like disappeared, went 5 feet back and spawned with a gloom hammer and then just jump attacked me and knocked me out. And I was like, are you kidding me, bro?
I don't remember that in phase 1.
That does make... In phase 1, I did have 1 bow drop instead of a sword. So I think Anthony's right. I don't think they always change weapon when they teleport, but I think they can, because one of my dudes, they definitely all had swords in the beginning, and then one of them, when they died, had a bow.
Gotcha.
In phase 1.
Right.
And I remember that being like so annoying because you'd get used to one dude's like play style and his like the timing of dodging their attacks, and then he just switches weapons on you, and you're like, oh, great, new timing, got it.
Yeah.
But aside from that, once you take down all 5, the health bar up top should be about halfway down, and then we go into the second phase of the fight.
Yeah, in the
Which is
second
hard.
phase, we got a couple new things happening. For starters, they show you right off the bat, like I think the camera even focuses on it. One of the Phantom Ganons will become the leader Phantom Ganon that is spreading gloom all around the battlefield. Like just kind of dripping off of him in all directions, kind of like if you were to fight one out in the wild, just all across the floor. If you attack them directly, it will reabsorb that gloom, which is, probably your best strat for clearing, some floor space. But that's just one of the new mechanics. The other one is that all 5 of your enemies will kind of randomly cycle to a different one of the gloom weapons. I think it's even like if after
Much
you
more
defeat
often
enough
now.
of them, they just kind of all poof at the same time and reposition with the new weapons.
Yeah.
And it does make the fight quite a bit harder with not only the change in timing, but also the fact that they all do that same change and reset themselves in a way.
And they're not always all
like a
using the
line.
same weapon. They can be using, like, some could have a sword, some could have a hammer, one could have a bow.
Yeah.
It's even more annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also when the gloom is spreading on the ground, the first time I didn't attack the one in the back. There was one like coming after me, so I just finished that one off, and then the same thing happened. All the gloom went away. So if you finish off any of them, I think it gets rid of it.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, usually in this game, if something is spreading gloom from their feet, if you hit them, that gloom goes back to them without, like, you don't have to defeat them for it to happen. You just have to deal damage to kind of reset the floor a bit.
Every other time they went to do it after that, I like went after that guy first and just smacked him and did that. But the first time, I just kind of let the gloom spread to see how far it would go and all that, and ended up beating another one and ending it. And then I was like, I bet I could have done that better.
Gotcha.
100%.
People don't read.
So after we get him down to all the way down on his health, we win the fight, and the Phantom Ganon starts rising to the air like a puppet, and we start hearing from, a Ganondorf, Ganon-esque voice again that says, it appears that the power is granted to you by not Riju, wow. Whoa, from Raru's arm isn't all there is to you, but there isn't much more than that.
Yeah.
So basically, he gives you the most underhanded compliment he could think of.
Saying you're being carried by that arm, but I guess you're doing a tiny bit more.
Right. Like fighting you was harder than just fighting Raru. Like, it's like, oh, thanks, I guess.
And then he tries to launch an attack at us.
Yeah, he sends like 4 streams specifically of gloom right at us.
It's pretty much like the same stuff that wrecked us in the beginning of the game when we got the arm. He's trying to do it again.
Yeah.
And this is when we got the bros.
This time, all of our sages appear in the flesh.
That's right.
Not just, their avatar spirits, just, actual them show up to dispel. Each one cuts off like one of these gloom tendrils and protects us in the long run. It's kind of funny that they could all do that with their regular weapons, but the Master Sword done shattered the first time it came across it. But hey, whatever.
It's the power of friendship, Hans.
Power of friendship. Plus, he split his power into like 4 different things. The first time it was just one, and it was all in that one.
Yeah, it was a pretty big, chunky beam of that stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
He's really letting him have the business.
So then Ganondorf is, he's surprised that none of us, even though we're all here fighting together, he doesn't really care much about that. But he is surprised that we don't seem to recognize him.
Mm-hmm. He says that the Secret Stone's like information passing ability, Secret Stones, is not infallible. It's not perfect.
Yeah, he's like, it seems like there's some limits to the wisdom or to the intelligence that they impart, which I'm guessing is the only clue we have as to why Ganondorf knows so much about like Link and Zelda's relationship, even though he's been sealed underground all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, listen, like we know that he was there in the past and everything, and that he had some kind of interaction with Zelda back then, but I don't think that she was just telling him all about memories that they had at Hyrule Castle together.
Right.
You know, it just the puppet Zelda having that information, I'm guessing that's supposed to be chalked up to a secret stone imparting knowledge, story beat. But I don't know. It's just never explained.
It could just be that he somehow managed to like eavesdrop or overlisten to conversations maybe between Zelda and Rauru, or Link in the present time with other people as Zelda, like trying to get eavesdropping information. So he could have just overheard it as well. He has eyes and ears everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I also think this is the actual first time, even though everyone playing the game already knows who he is, but I think it's the first time he actually properly introduces himself outside of a memory as who he is, Ganondorf.
Yeah. He says
It's
that
like this late.
Yeah. And he mentions like your ancestors have only delayed my ascension. And then he shows everybody in the room a memory of his conquest of Hyrule back in the day.
Yeah. He's like, hey guys, check this out. You see him summoning all the guys, the Lionels, the Hinoxes, the Moblins, and he just makes an army charging across Hyrule Field with him at the front with his horse throwing out beams of corruption energy, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to do that again.
Was it a horse? Was it a horse with crazy armor? I remember
I think it was, yeah.
Horse.
And it also had like a metal kind of spear spike coming out of the front of it, like how they would have in combat to ram into somebody with.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely armored out. Looked very peak for combat.
Right. I thought it almost looked rhino-esque.
I guess I don't 100% know that it was a horse. It was something beastly. That looked like a horse. It was see it for too long. It was pretty beastly.
Yeah, this was a memory that I didn't rewatch, but I know that one of our episodes we want to do a movie night, kind of like we did with Breath of the Wild, and in that I know we'll revisit this because I'm pretty sure it gets saved as a memory.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk about it again when we get to that. In the meantime, we all come back from this memory, and Ganondorf just kind of leaves.
Yep.
He's like the this is the world that once was and will be again, and then he just kind of disappears. Tulin has a line here that's like, wait, so that stuff in the past really happened? And I'm like, Tulin, you got to start believing in some of these stories, man. I mean, we already proved that the whole, sky ship was a real thing back in your hometown.
Right?
We've listened to the story from the sages 4 times together. you still in disbelief?
Yeah, he's been there since the beginning. He has the secret stone.
He does have that.
He's wearing it.
You should know.
He should be getting at least some knowledge imparted to him, right? So you think he'd at least have the inkling that it's real?
Maybe,
and he's like, wow, it's all real, huh?
Maybe it only actually imparts the knowledge if you stick it in your forehead, like some maniac.
Maybe. Or it's a slow trickle thing over time.
Maybe he just needs to go to Hyrule Library and get a bookcase shield.
He needs some knowledge.
Get that bookcase bow, Tulin.
My favorite line from Riju, possibly next, where she's literally just like Sasuke. She's pulling the ninja smarts out. She's like, wait, hold on. He must not be at his full strength if he just fleed instead of finishing off.
Yeah. He's like, he was able to attack you guys the one time, but he didn't stick around once he saw everyone was all together. He bounced. He's like, he must not be back to full power yet.
And I was like, oh.
So let's regroup and figure out what we're going to do next.
Yeah, it's a good inference on her part. If Ganon could just take them all out, he probably would. So seeing that he can't, that might be their time to strike.
Battle smarts.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's the general. Best rates.
So we get, go to the general and save some time.
It's also cool to see her kind of take up the mantle of Urbosa a little bit, as Urbosa was very battle smart. She's kind of like mirroring that a little bit, and she's quite young too.
Yeah, it's a Gerudo thing. They're the battle women, the warrior women. They're ready for it.
Yeah, she got them Gibdo fighting strats.
Got the senses.
She knows a decrepit corpse when she sees one.
Goodness.
What?
So Ganondorf could just be King Gibdo.
I mean, in a way, pretty much.
He's a mummy.
Did he
Super strong?
Now, did he marry Queen Gibdo, or is it just kind of like a title?
I don't want to think about that.
Okay.
Unless Queen Gibdo was possibly like a Gerudo at one point until witchcraft, maybe.
Yeah, witchcraft may be.
Listen,
we all have different ways of reviving. Some of us absorb dark power from the depths of Hyrule, and others just build ourselves a chrysalis. Turn into a beautiful moth out in the desert.
Yes, beautiful.
I'm going to start calling Ganon Memwem over here as the king of the bug people. As a Hunter x Hunter call.
I that was my first guess, but I was hesitant to voice it.
Yeah. That's the king of the ants.
Sounds like the Chimera King.
The name his mother gave him.
It's a great name.
So, onward back to HQ, we do end up regrouping. This time, we talk to Pura, and she kind of gets back around to the important thing she wanted to talk to us about, I think. Actually, you know what? I don't think she actually does.
Recap. She's the recapper. She recaps everything for you. She's like, oh, well, this is what happened there, right? She's like, yeah, he's definitely Princess Zelda's an imposter. You definitely fought the Ganondorf that was in the imprisoning war, and you definitely did that. And so I don't know, man. Like,
and then isn't Riju the one that pipes up with the next bit?
I'm not sure who brings it up.
I think it was Riju brings up and says, wait, when we saw them fighting, like the sages fighting against Ganon, there was 6. There's 6 sages, including Rauru. So Link is kind of Rauru in this situation.
Right.
And then so we're missing a sage. And then it kind of goes back and zooms in on all the different sages that we've seen so far and shows the last one that we've no idea of.
Right. So if you've watched other memories again, because, the game's not linear. You don't have to do things in the order that we podcast about them. You would know who this character is. They are, in fact, another Zonai, as you might have been able to tell by the appearance of this character.
Mm-hmm.
They even have a mask on their head that looks a lot like the chest plate that Rauru tends to wear. So they're the only 2 official Zonai that we know about in the game. Up to this point, anyway.
Isn't Raru's wife different one, though?
I don't think Rauru...
She's a Hyrulean.
Oh, yeah. Raru's wife was Sonia. She was a Hyrulean.
Guys, we did him dirty. It wasn't Riju. It was Bro. He's the one who had the epiphany of it was one more sage.
It was Sidon.
Bro?
Sidon. Yeah. I just looked up the official text. I'm like, oh man, we almost missed Sidon's most important smart moment.
I just went with what you guys were saying because I did not remember who brought it up.
He's contributing.
I know, right?
Look at my man.
Tulin contributed by not believing that things were real until that moment. Riju contributed with the war strats. Sidon contributed with remembering the memory, and
Yunobo's there.
Yunobo is there for emotional support, I guess. I don't know.
Yunobo, I don't think has a single line in any of this.
Wait, no, Yunobo is just like Hulk and Marvel. When they tell him to go fight, he just smash. So it's just like Yunobo go smash, and he's like, "Aight."
That's what the Gorons are there for.
Yeah, I'm just here to be a sturdy foundation. So,
and in my case, I also got told that. Should we? Since a couple of us might already have the sage. I got told to go find the Master Sword because I never did that.
Oh,
hilarious. Okay.
See, I got told to go find the sage because I already had the Master Sword.
They were impressed with me that I already found the sage. They told me to go. Fonz, they're like, "Oh, this guy's set."
Yeah, they told me to go fight the boss. They're like, "What are you doing here? You should have just went underground while you were there."
They're like, "Just go finish this, man. You did everything. Come on." You almost
No,
found every cave in the region. Come on, man.
You charted a full topography map of Hyrule.
Yeah, they were, because this is officially where the Four Phenomena mission ends and where the Fifth Sage mission begins. If you already have the Fifth Sage, it's immediately completed. It is basically another natural phenomenon's worth of content. So it's really funny to have it be open and closed all at once like that.
Yeah.
And one of like 3 different people will tell you to find the Master Sword in general. I mean, I know that the Great Deku Tree will, Pura will right here, and then the Fifth Sage will when you finally meet them. So, you know, a lot of people want you to find that. If you already have it, it doesn't even come up as much in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't. So they're like, you should go see the Deku Tree.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. But do you really have to, though? No, I haven't gone to the Lost Woods at all in this game yet.
Okay.
I missed that episode that we did, so I didn't get around to doing it.
The Deku Tree like gives you hints, but doesn't actually tell you what to do.
That's what the game's telling me to do.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, didn't the Deku Tree kind of like mark a location for you to check out?
I don't, maybe.
Or something. He marked something for
hoping.
you to like get more facts or info from, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, there's clues all around, but it's...
The Deku Tree is who everyone tells me to go to, so if he doesn't give me something to go on, I would have no idea what to do next.
He will give you something to go on. I just don't know how useful it'll be on its own. It might be just a lead to more steps, but, you know. I don't want to give too much away if you ain't done it yet. That's a special kind of friend-to-friend, no spoiler zone.
I ain't done it yet.
Okay.
I got that travel medallion, though.
Nice.
And I got 2 charges on it, not quite all 3 yet.
That'll help.
All right. Right. So we get this new mission. Pure even says, hey, I'm going to probably look at some of the, we should all scatter back to our hometowns, figure out if we can find any more information on this Fifth Sage, where it could possibly be. I think she even says that she's going to visit Kakariko, which is kind of your hint that might be a good place to go. Like I think she even mentions, like, didn't some ruins fall over there? Maybe they know something.
I think she actually, I could be wrong on this, but I believe she told you to go see what's her face, the new
Paya.
I mean, if I don't know if you want to say village chief, but the new village chief, Paya, and I think she tells you to go see her.
Yeah,
because you could help out.
And that will be that'll actually be where our next episode goes as well. Will be to Kakariko, because not only are there ring ruins there, but there's a bunch of other things that happen in the town that are a little just more minor. But one of the major themes of that town were these ruins that you didn't have full access to because of Felda. Felda told them not to investigate, like not to get anywhere near the last set of ruins because they were still floating in the air, and it was like, oh, don't touch those, they'll fall and like they'll hurt somebody or something like that. So the whole town's been staying away from them. But now that you all know about fake Zelda, you might actually be able to go finish your investigation. So yeah,
Man, I'm
Felda's out the way.
I'm thinking Felda needs to be a new Smash Bros. Character.
And speaking of characters that are in Kakariko, just real quick, I'm just gonna throw this out as like as a tease for next episode. I got a bone to pick with a couple of them characters.
Oh, I could go straight off. Tell you what.
One specifically.
Man, just make some soup.
Bro, what?
I don't know.
Soup. The tea's gonna be hot. We spilling it next episode.
Got to get him out of here.
Yeah, we got to get him out of here. But yeah. So we're done. We're done with this section. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts on it. Any additional bits? I mean, I thought that it was kind of cool that they did a basically a demon masquerading as, the princess. That was kind of cool.
My thoughts on this part where we learn obviously that Zelda is Felda if you didn't already assume that at any other point in the game. My thoughts are both in lore and why the developers did not choose. Oh, Ganondorf's a master manipulator, right? And he's been shown to be a master manipulator, cause great crises like all over Hyrule, which he did do, but he only pretended to be Zelda. I don't know what his rules of like transfiguration are, but like, is it like he takes a hair from Zelda, or like, he has to have something, or like he can just transform? Because I could think of a whole bunch more characters that he could transform into to cause even more chaos across Hyrule. But we only see Felda. So it's kind of, I feel like it could have been a cooler addition if the developers added it. If he just had like more characters that are causing chaos throughout Hyrule and you have to kind of solve those as well. I know it was the focus on Zelda, but it's just kind of like a cool tidbit they could have added.
Well, you see, the thing is, the Yiga are already doing that. He didn't want to associate himself with the Yiga that heavily.
Yeah, he's like, the Yiga are doing it. I'm not going to stoop myself as low.
No, I mean, honestly, he found the one player in this game that has enough influence to wreak havoc, but also he knows that there's some kind of established relationship between him and the only name he has to look out for. Because everybody in the past was so confident that, a bajillion years in the future, somebody named Link would defeat him. So he's probably trying to find a strategy specifically for us. I don't think he really cared about the rest of Hyrule as much.
That's true. He was scared, shaking in his boots from Link.
Yeah. So I think he was more trying to wreak havoc for Link than for all of Hyrule. But as his schemes often do, they only serve to strengthen us in our journey.
As we get a heart container from the fight.
Yeah.
It was a cool thing, actually. I didn't expect to get a heart container from beating Phantom Ganon.
I didn't either. I don't know. It seems like a weird place to find it, right? I'm like 5 dudes, 1 heart. Like, what is this?
I mean, it was a battle gauntlet. I feel like you should be rewarded with something at the end. You're even rewarded from Colosseums with good stuff, so...
Could have used a hook shot.
I mean, I agree with a reward. I just didn't expect it to be a heart container.
True.
But I mean, then I thought back and I was like, it was a boss, so I guess it's not that odd, but I don't know.
Speaking of being in the castle room, Cameron, did you get the gear in the castle throne room?
I mean, since you was there and all, and it would have been mad convenient.
Right.
I think I already searched through the castle, so I didn't look again if it was something I missed.
Yeah, it was in the top throne room.
Yeah, I think I got that the first time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Because that's a good piece of set right there. The champion's armor.
Yeah.
Set callback armor, man.
But I'm all about that barbarian, though. Me hit hard.
Yeah, once you have armor that you like why ever change it?
Unless I'm climbing. If I'm climbing and I know I'm going to need to get somewhere that's difficult to get to, even with max stamina, I'll throw on climbing set. Or as much of it as I have anyways.
Yeah, that was more of a joke because I change my outfit all the time.
Oh, I really don't. Rarely I'll change to the gliding gear, and obviously if I'm in a hot place or cold place, but normally I'm just always in barbarian armor.
Yeah, I'm usually still stealth armor, even though it's a legacy armor, because I just want to be able to snatch bugs out of the air as I run around without worrying about them flying away.
Yeah, it is nice.
Otherwise, if I'm climbing, you'll catch me in my climbing gear. If I'm swimming, you'll catch me in my Zora gear. If I'm flying through the skies, you'll see me rocking the Zora glide outfit. Like the Zonai glide outfit. Sorry, but yeah, it's all situational.
And it's all crazy that Link can carry that much. My man's got 30 full course meals. He's got an entire closet. He's got, everything from all the weapons to the shields to the bows and the giant armor room, all just on his person. Yeah. He's got 6 pockets, and each pocket is its own dimension for one type of thing.
That's like Ben Link's staple, man. He shrinks things down to the size of a penny when he puts it in his backpack.
I just got reminded of Majora's Mask because I was like, man, you think the size of his inventory would be like a tool or something useful? Like maybe you get to the final boss and you could just throw all your clothes around the room to distract him or something, Like, huzzah, 10,000 apples. Like, you didn't expect it, and now you can't see me. I'm just,
Then he just
I'm
trips
concealed by the fruit.
You just crush him under 3,000 rupees.
And then I remembered that in Majora's Mask, there's actually an entire moon zone where you're just handing these like happy mask children all of your masks in order to gain entry into their mini games.
Yeah.
And so they have done that. They have kind of, used the massive inventory for something that wasn't actually the use of the items themselves. Kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait till we get to Majora's Mask.
That's like our end game strategy. That's like one of our last games.
I know.
It's a tight game.
So good.
It's so good.
So much lore, so much thinking, so much creativity, so much we could say.
So much creepy.
The Elegy of Emptiness.
Yeah. The Nick Cage Link statue.
Oh no.
All right. That is our episode though. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for listening. This has been A for No, B for Yes. If you'd like to reach out to us or leave a review on the page, feel free to do that. You can reach out to us on our email or on our website page. That'll be in the description as usual. But otherwise, we will be going towards that fifth stage next time with a trip to Kakariko to start us off. We will catch you then on the next episode of A for No, B for Yes.
Did you get all that?
Hello, everyone. Ryan here, just popping in. I wanted to give an acknowledgement to some of the responses we've got to some of our episode questions. These you'll find usually on Spotify as like a poll or just a feeler question about usually something now related to the episodes, but a lot of them were just simply, what do you think of the podcast? We did actually get one submission as well through our website recently, so I just wanted to cover some of those real quick. Unfortunately, it is just me right now, but if there are questions or things that I think apply to the other hosts of the show, I will bring it up with them as well. So just a few shout outs here. On one of our recent episodes, start of this year, we actually did a best plays of 2023. And we asked you, the listener, what your best plays were. And we got two responses. One from Colton. Says that his best plays were Tekken 3, Metal Gear Solid, Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Star Wars Battlefront 2, I love that game, Skyward Sword HD, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Link's Awakening HD, Bowser's Fury, and he also gave a shout out to Lincoln Bingus, which is kind of a joke from our Skyward Sword episodes back in, season 3? That was a ways back. Good lineup here. I'm not sure how many of those fighting games you actually played on a Nintendo system. I'm sure Star Wars Battlefront 2 was a more recent, probably like a PlayStation or a PC or something like that. But yeah, awesome list. And then we got a response from Ganondorf. This person is, I think they've changed their name a few times. Ganondorf has given us a bunch of positive feedback on some of our episodes. Always appreciated. In this one, he mentions that his favorite plays were the Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Wreckfest, and Need for Speed Unbound. I'm not super familiar. Like, I haven't actually played any of those games, I don't think. So it's definitely a cool list to look into. I've heard the Mario and Rabbids series is really good. I've played some Need for Speed games in general. I tend to enjoy those as well. And I have to look into what Wreckfest is, but that sounds like a party. So then moving on to some older responses. Uh, we had another response from Ganondorf asking which of the Legend of Zelda games is our favorite. This is an interesting one because we tried, at least when we started the series, the podcast, to the end of each season do like a top list, like our top X amount of games, and we have kind of fallen off of that tradition. I'm going to see if we can get back on it at the end of this game. I think it'd be really interesting to see where our lists have gone now that we're 5 games in. I can tell you that my favorite Legend of Zelda game is the Ocarina of Time. It's the one that holds the most nostalgia for me. It's the one that introduced me to games that have an actual in-depth, complex storytelling, whether it's just from the settings, the characters, the way they interact, that go beyond surface level. And so I've always just held a special place for the Ocarina of Time. It's one of my favorite games to talk about. That's why we started the series with it. And it, I honestly, I could do a whole nother podcast on just that game. I'm going to let the other guys speak for themselves when the opportunity arises. So we got an email submission from Luke. Luke just gave us some positive feedback here. Says, I love this podcast so much. I'm only on season 2. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I'm glad that you are enjoying it. I will say that our tone does change a bit seasons 1 and 2, I feel like we're very similar. Season 3, 4 and 5, I feel like are a different feel. I don't remember. Season 3, I think we started to kind of loosen up a bit, but there is still a few episodes in that one where you'll get some heavy analysis and some good discussion from that. But yeah, I think once we get back to more traditional Zelda games, we'll probably go back to doing more literary analysis. It's really hard to do with the open world games because the story just tends to be a little more shallow in those games, to be honest. So there's been less for us to talk about lately, but more game to cover. So kind of balances out in that way. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your submissions, for all of the feedback you've been giving us. We've been seeing growth not only in numbers but in engagement, and that's very much appreciated. Hopefully we can do the dream is that one day we'll be able to do mailbox episodes and just talk about ideas and feedback and things that you guys send in. But till then, I'll just pop in every once in a while like this. I'll probably share some stuff with the guys, and we'll go from where we're at. But yeah, y'all have a good few weeks, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.